we're here at Trent University Forensics Department Crime Scene House. It's kind of creepy in here. I'm here with some of the best young minds in forensic science today, right?
Yeah.
Today's Science in the City about analyzing blood at a crime scene. Blood is something you might find at a crime scene, right?
Yeah, sometimes.
Is it always obvious?
No, sometimes it's cleaned up, so it's not always there.
You have to have techniques to find it even when it's invisible.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If we think about our crime scene television programs, they like to use luminol, right? Yeah, they go in, they spray it around like holy water, and the whole room lights up blue, and they find blood, and they instantly point to the person who's guilty. Well, it doesn't always work like that.
No, it's not always used like that, and it's not necessarily the best option.
You still use it.
Yep, definitely. It's a useful tool, but it has its limitations.
It can indicate something might be blood, but it actually isn't.
Yeah.
So let's do a couple of tests to help us understand how you go about using luminol in a crime scene and how you might use some other tests as well to test for the presence of blood. Sounds like something we can do?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we're in a perfect spot for it because there's blood all over the walls here. Okay, first test here in the crime scene house, luminol and blood. We can take some sheep's blood and spread it all over the wall, just like you probably want to do at home, right? No, okay, that's why we can do it here. There might be some other invisible blood on the wall here.
Yeah.
All right? So let's do the luminol test. We'll need darkness for this to see if we can get some glowing to test for the presence of blood. Okay, lights out.
Whoa.
That's picking up blood that we couldn't see.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's really glowing. Okay, let's bring the lights up and let's see what's going on here. Okay, now that's a good test for blood.
It's a good presumptive test.
And what's a presumptive test?
It means that there could possibly be blood there on the wall.
So in this reaction here, when the luminol hits the blood, it reacts with the iron and the hemoglobin, and you get a chemical reaction that gives off energy in the form of light, chemiluminescence. But what you're saying then is that we could get a false positive. We could get something that indicates that there might be blood there, but it actually isn't blood.
Exactly.
Well, let's do a test to see if we can fake out the luminol and understand why it's not totally conclusive. So one of the things that might trigger luminol is bleach. Let's try a bleach test, okay? Let's rub some bleach on the wall. Rebecca, you want to grab the bleach there and give us a nice big stain of bleach on the crime scene wall? Isn't it great where you can just monkey around with a place like this? You can dirty it up as much as you want. Now, it's funny that bleach is something that might trigger luminol because in a crime scene, you might find the use of bleach used to remove evidence.
Clean up the mess.
Yeah.
But so the luminol will trigger the bleach, and that might actually just trigger greater suspicion.
Yeah,
Offered if you
definitely.
bleach down your whole house, people start asking questions.
Okay, well, let's try the luminol on the bleach on the wall and see what happens. Okay, lights out. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's bring the lights up. So we got lots of glow there. We got glow from the blood, and we got glow from the bleach. So when you try it with the luminol, you're not certain that you have blood.
No.
You could also have bleach. Is that a good sign?
No. Well, when you walk into a crime scene and there's bleach everywhere, that's pretty powerful evidence of a cleanup, which is evidence of guilt in itself.
Okay, so maybe with a luminol test, you at least find something you think might be blood,
Yeah, exactly.
and then you could try another test to analyze whether it actually is blood. So let's try another test to see if we can get more specific on whether or not we actually have blood at the scene. This little device here, this is called a hemident stick. And this is another test for blood at the presence of a crime scene. So this isn't quite as showy as the whole luminol thing. And so why don't we do a little test here? Sam, we're gonna give you the hemident stick, so you'll do the test, and Alice, you can come over and do the swab.
I'm just gonna wet the swab first.
Okay. So we need to soak up, all that red stuff. You've got a good heavy-duty sample on the end of that swab. Now the swab has to go into
The hemident.
hemident. Cut it off so it fits in there. Boing. Okay, perfect. Okay, now the sample's in there, and it's time to initiate a chemical reaction. We have a couple of chambers with different chemicals in them, and we have to bring them in contact. So you break the chambers open, right?
Right.
Okay, break the first one, little crack, and we'll give it a shake. Okay, and now we try the second one. Okay, now that was pretty dramatic. We started with a red swab and now it's all blue-green. What's going on there?
There is a chemical reaction. The rapid change of color happened because of the hemoglobin present.
When you cracked the bottom chamber, you released acetic acid and a dye called leukomalachite green, and those started a reaction with the blood. When you crack the top chamber, you introduce hydrogen peroxide, brings a lot of oxygen into the blood or into the chamber, and that continues the chemical reaction that produces that wonderful blue-green dye.
Right.
Okay, so what did we learn here today? We did the test with luminol. We got the big show, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of the sexy TV thing, it all glows and it's like the discotheque. But I guess that chemoluminescence that happens with the luminol, that can be triggered with blood, it can be triggered with a whole bunch of other things, right?
Yeah. That's the problem.
But if you want to do a much more reliable test for blood in the field, you can use the little hemodent sticks, and that gives you a much more conclusive test for blood.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you go back to the lab and solve the crime, right?
Exactly.